What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Clay Raterman here with my good friend Nick Simi. Both of us were former college football players. We were walk-ons at The Ohio State University, best school in the nation. So shout out to Ohio State. Basically, in today's video, we're going to be telling you guys what it looks like to be a college football from a training perspective. So we're going to take you guys through essentially what it's like in the strength and conditioning programs from the winter phase to spring ball to summer to fall camp to the season and then to the bowl season, because really it's split into different phases like that. So we're going to tell you guys all about what it's like to train as a college football athlete at a top Division I program. So Nick actually was a strength intern following his senior year in college, so he knows a lot about the strength and conditioning side of things. I'm going to let him kick it off for us here.
Well, I don't know everything. First, I want to make that disclaimer. But
Yes, he does.
Yeah, so from January to April, I had the opportunity to be a strength and conditioning intern under primarily football, but I also worked with a couple other teams as well, during my time there. But yeah, so we're going to kind of go through each individual season, like he said. So starting with
winter. We're going to kick it off with winter. Yeah, that's some athletes, whether you're coming out of high school or you're walking on, some people do early enroll where they'll come in the winter. But generally, we'll say like the start of the year is, January 1st, you're coming back. It's that first semester. We're going to start there and then progress throughout the year and show you guys what it's like to train.
Yeah, so that's when the season obviously comes to a close. All the position coaches go out on recruiting, and this is the strength and conditioning coach's turn to really be in season for them. So this is their in-season, because there isn't any on-field work, obviously, even though that's integrated during the winter, but it's primarily done in the weight room in terms of the work. So what starts out first is, obviously once everyone gets back from their break, we start moving into higher intensity, higher load training, and higher volume. So it's really ramping everything up to spring ball. And so it's broken up between upper body and lower body days. So there'd be an upper body day Monday and Thursday, and then a lower body day Tuesday and Friday. Mm-hmm. And then predominantly Wednesday and the weekends were off. But I mean, a lot of guys used Wednesdays and Saturdays as recovery.
Think Wednesdays weren't necessarily off. They were like days that we would do. They were off in terms of maybe the weight room, but we would be doing things like mat drills or like other things that would be extremely challenging mentally and physically. They just weren't necessarily on in the weight room.
Correct.
So during like this winter block period, this is like where, the strength coaches are going to be really on you to, make progress in the weight room. This is where you're going to be lifting heavy weights. You're going to be, ramping things up in terms of your weightlifting. And then there's not a whole lot of conditioning in this time because it's the winter and they're really trying to get you guys built and ready to go. And then once spring ball starts to roll around, then they'll start focusing a little bit more on conditioning. But spring ball is really a time where, once that finally kicks into gear, you're practicing again and you're in pads and you're on the field. So they're going to start ramping down the weightlifting again. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, that'd be cool too.
So for the spring, they go more to about like a 2 or 3 day a week program, because obviously we're trying to maximize what the athlete can do on the field, whether it's football or really any sport. So we predominantly got guys in terms of like a barbershop style, so it kind of broke up the weight room nice because not everyone was in there at one time. So it had a little bit more of like an intimate relationship with the strength and conditioning coaches because they didn't have to oversee as many people. So when guys got in there, it was either more of like an upper lower total body, and then that was coupled with the
practices ball. Yeah, so essentially like you'd have different weightlifting times or groups that you'd be in. So if you're in like the 6 o'clock group, you got to be there at 6 a.m. on maybe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you practice on the field Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So really like your body's going every single day other than Sundays. You'll get really one day off a week that you can do a total recovery day, but the rest of the time you're either lifting or you're practicing. So in the winter you're just lifting, you're just getting stronger, you're just doing mental challenges, you're just doing winner loser competitions like mat drills, things that tug of war, things that are going to build the team camaraderie and the toughness. And then spring ball rolls around, now you're doing practices and lifting. And then once spring ball is over and it goes back to summertime, it's another period kind of like the winter, where you're going to be like, you're grinding. Like you're doing, maybe 2 workouts a day. One of them's conditioning, one of them's weightlifting. And you're doing that, 5-6 days a week for the entire summer. So let's get your take on the summer conditioning aspect.
So instead of, like Clay said, predominantly having stuff in the weight room, Mondays we would have an upper body lift, and then we'd have a team run, or it's usually like conditioning drills that involved like short change of direction, agility, cone drills, and everything was winner loser competition style training. And then Tuesday we'd come in, it would be a hard lower body day, and then Wednesday would be position specific drills, which is something they implemented.
Getting you ready for the season, getting you back in that mode of doing drills and like things that you're going to be doing for practice.
Yeah, because that's the biggest thing I would recommend too, is a lot of people might be in great shape, or even be great shape in the weight room, in terms of pushing weight and whatnot. But also, I mean, if you want to be a great football player, you can't expect that to translate exactly. So you have to do position-specific drills integrated in. So that was the kind of thinking behind that.
Yeah, so we would have like 1 or 2. I think it was just one really main, like, super strict conditioning day. That was usually Thursdays, where we would we'd have our lift in the morning, we'd do legs or something, and we'd come back in the afternoon, and it would be straight up running, like sprints on sprints on sprints on sprints. Yeah, so that day was usually really tough, and then Friday was, or no, it was actually an arm day on Thursday, then followed up with the conditioning, and then Friday was another leg day.
Yeah, Friday was probably the hardest of the week, because obviously you just went through a tough week of training, and then they ask you to come in. Yeah. They destroy you
for the weekend
through a leg workout, and then you have a lower body finisher coupled on top of that. So not only do you have just a really hard, intense leg press, squats, cleans, and then you go over and then you have some sort of dynamic finisher, whether it's on field or involving cardio equipment, etc. So
yeah, I would say every day is tough in their own right. Mondays, a lot of pressure's on because it's winner loser drill work. You're on the field. You also probably have a lift. Tuesday is just a straight up hard leg day. Wednesday is hard because it's back to like position specific drills, and your coaches are really on you. They're watching your performance and stuff like that. Thursday is conditioning. Friday is back to legs. So summer's a really crazy time for training. It's when you're going to be doing most of the work to get your body and your mind ready for the season. I guess the winter a little bit too in terms of the weight room. So both of those time periods are like your main training blocks, and then spring ball and fall are really the times where you're playing football the most. So after summer comes fall camp, and this is another time where your body is going to be feeling it.
Oh my gosh.
Tell them about the training for fall camp.
So yeah, unlike the last two in terms of the summer and the winter, they're going to drop the intensity, they're going to drop the volume down. So you're getting a lot of volume running, a lot of pressing movements if you're a lineman, etc. So they're going to drop the volume in terms of reps in the weight room, but they're going to keep the intensity, or like the percentages that we use for like our main movements, like our bench, squat, like our sumo or trap bar deadlift. They're going to keep that high. So they're going to keep that around 80 to 90%, 92. So that's something that they want to keep high, because we want to keep our strength, but we don't want to be coming in the weight room. Guys just, engaged for, 2 hours in a practice, or, some sort of 2 a day or whatever, if those are still around at your school. But when you come in the weight room, you want to keep your strength. So we're not just going to ask them to do a rep out. We're going to have, load up and ask them to push some weight.
It seemed like they didn't want to burn you out, but they wanted you to maintain what you had gained over the summer and the winter and the spring. So essentially, like he said, they're going to lower the reps, but they're going to keep the percentages high, make you, still lift heavy and still keep that strength, but it's going to be a lot lower rep range to where it's not going to make you like exhausted for your next practice, or your muscles are going to be too sore where you can't, perform at your top level. So fall camp, I think focus is 100% really on, practice and getting your mental reps in and getting your actual field reps in, and then less on the weight room. It's more on, keeping you healthy at that point for the season. So then once fall camp's over, you dive into the season, and it's really the same thing as fall camp. They're trying to keep you healthy. They're trying to keep your strength up, trying to keep your endurance up, but really it's 100%, I would say, laser focus on that week, that practice, that that team that you're playing that week, And really, the focus isn't going to be on training unless you're potentially somebody who's not playing at all. Then the strength coaches, they'll have you in on Fridays, and they'll put you through a hard lift if you're not going to be someone who's on the field playing on Saturday. So I would say, what do you have on fall camp?
Really, in season, so after game, so Saturday game, Sunday, most teams come in and do a lift of some kind. Some do a run through, walk through, some do a light practice. And those are total body in nature. So you're really hitting all the core lifts, some of the accessories involving upper and lower body. So predominantly in season, you're probably looking about 2 days a week in terms of total body. And so it usually is like Sunday and then maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, depending upon the schedule of your practice.
Sometimes you had I would say Tuesdays during the season are going to be your hardest day in terms of practice. But then, like we said, lifting, if you're a starter and you're playing a ton, they're going to just want to keep you healthy, keep your numbers and your strength up, but they're definitely not going to kill you in the weight room right before a game. That's what they've trained you all year long for.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. And so they're going to modify everything, whether if someone can't do a squat or can't put their hands back for a barbell, they're going to do different variations. Yeah. So it's not like they're, like Clay said, they're not trying to kill you in the weight room. We're not
unless you're not playing.
Exactly. That's probably a good point to be made. So no finishers or anything, for starters or guys that are on the travel squad, but, transition. So those 2 days of total body training, basically for the whole team, but for the non-travel guys or guys that aren't playing on Saturdays, they have a Friday. We called it a developmental lift. So that was more of like a team-based, like small team, non-travel-based workout where we had some sort of crazy finisher, some sort of team component, competition component.
Then really, guys, the last part to this puzzle is bowl season. And again, I would say it's basically the same thing as the season in terms of, training, how training goes. It's really the same thing. They're trying to keep you healthy. They're trying to keep you conditioned because, you'll have a longer time to prepare for that bowl game or that national championship game than you would for a normal game. So they're going to have you working out for sure. It's going to be a little bit more training than I would say for your general week, just because you have a longer time period in between the games. But, other than that, like I said, they're going to keep you healthy, keep your numbers up, and then get you conditioned and ready to perform in that bowl game. So I would say overall, that's the training scheme. Is there anything else we want to tell them in terms of how hard it is on your body, or if it's what they should try to prepare for? It's nothing too they're going to keep you healthy. So,
I think the big thing is, like we talked about in other videos, is controlling what you can control. So that's sleep, hydration, nutrition, because that will only help you recover and be better in the next workout. So if you're under recovering, I think that's something that obviously inhibits your performance in other days of the week, and regardless of what position you are on the team. So
right, I guess I shouldn't say they're gonna keep you healthy. They're gonna try their best to keep you healthy. Their goal is to have you ready for any game, any competition, anything like that. But definitely there are points throughout the season where your body starts to break down, maybe you get injured. Those are things you need to make sure that you're on top of yourself, and like he said, take personal accountability for your own recovery. If you're not doing the cold tubs, if you're not going to the trainers and getting stretched out, massaged, whatever you need to do to be ready to perform, that's really on you, and you need to take that stuff pretty seriously, I'd say, just because of how excruciating the training can be at times. But other than that, that's really all I got.
Just touching on what Clay said, it's really about maximizing your time there. So regardless if you have one season, two, or you're just starting in as a freshman, you want to handle yourself like a professional while you're there. So whether everything that Clay touched on and we talked about, it's very important in terms of going to see the trainers and speaking up and really being a pro.
Got to stay healthy if you want to make plays on the field or make it to the next level.
Of course.
So that's all, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any questions at all, let us know. I would say number one massive tip to this training is to smash the subscribe button. You guys got to do that. Make sure you follow Nick Simi on Instagram. It's NickSimi_. Follow me at ClayRat. And then Comment what you guys want to see in the next videos, and yeah, we'll be here to answer your questions. So thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video.